Hi everyone, this is Gabe with Harvest, and today I want to talk about the top 3 reasons that Harvest is different than anything else out there and why I think it could be the most useful tool for your music. Okay, and so to start, we're going to look at reason number 1, and that is custom note selections. So in a lot of different situations and programs, usually what you'll find is a library of scales, and that's very common. We have one as well. So you can choose F, and then you can choose any mode that you can think of, any scale that's commonly used. Now, what you don't see too often is the ability to create your own note selections, and that's very crucial for a software like Harvest, where your note selection determines a lot about what the music ends up sounding like. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to hit clear, and the next thing I'll do is press edit. And there's 2 options here. I can use my mouse and click in notes on this horizontal keyboard. So this note selection isn't a chord, it's not a scale, it's just 4 notes. And if you wanted just specifically those 4 notes, it would be very frustrating if you were limited to choosing only scales. So this is really key for crafting your own sound, not being limited to a preset scale, a library, but actually being able to choose low notes, high notes. You can choose one that's way over here and way over here, and that's gonna make a huge difference in your control over your sequences. So you can really make things that sound a lot more like you. Not only can you use your mouse to make note selections, but the way I actually prefer is to use the MIDI keyboard. So because I have my Harvest track armed and I have edit turned on, all of the notes I press on my MIDI instrument are going to appear in my note selection like this. I think this is really handy for when you're improvising on your keyboard and your hand is on a particular note selection and you know it's just these 5 notes. Reason number 2, the ability to tap in rhythms. So you can see here there's a large button that says tap on it. So when I press play in Ableton, every time I click tap, a new note appears in one of my 5 notes that are available, one of these 5 notes here. So let me show you what I mean. Inputting a rhythm this way is much more musical and natural feeling than just leaving it up to chance or choosing down from a drop down. This is actually similar to playing an instrument. And speaking of instrument, I actually prefer not to use this tap button with my mouse. What I do prefer to do is play with an actual instrument. So if I clear my notes and hit MIDI tap, to create my rhythm, I can actually play my instrument, which I think is a lot more fun. And it reflects my actual musical decisions and style. So here's what that looks like. Reason number 3, and that's the individual lock tool. It's this little tool right here that locks notes. And if you don't already know, Harvest works by being able to regenerate sequences, as in randomize the pattern, but keep the rhythm and keep the note selection to be the same. So you can turn a sequence that sounds like this to this, which you can see is completely different with one click. Now, because the note selection is the same and the rhythm is the same, they have a lot in common, but they are different. Harvest works by randomizing the position of each of these notes within the parameters that you set. And with randomization, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. And so this lock tool is really designed to help you filter out the good so you can keep it and leave the bad behind. Let me show you what I mean. Let's hear this particular sequence again. Now you can hear the first part's kind of awkward, the end is maybe a little awkward as well, but it's not all unusable. I think I do want to keep these 5 notes right here. And now that they're locked, you can see that they're highlighted. Whenever I press regenerate, they stay the same way. But everything else is different. Everything else undergoes the same process of being randomized. So this is a way you can actually be doing that filtering of keeping all the good and leaving out all the bad stuff. So now I can just go ahead and listen, and that part will have to stay the same, but everything else is now different. And now I can get a little closer to my end result, and I'm using my own personal taste along the way as I make these decisions. So this is a creative decision making. You're keeping your ability to put your own style in your music. Now I can just finish up this sequence. I'm going to regenerate again and just keep listening to the results and using my ears to make creative decisions instead of my muscle memory on a keyboard. Now I like this first note. These other two still need some different options. All right, so bonus reason, the interactive piano roll. So this piano roll that you see is actually completely interactive. As you just saw, you can lock notes, but you can do more than that, as you can just double click to create a new one. And that just allows you to take matters into your own hands when you need to. Not only can you create new ones by double clicking, you can click and drag them anywhere you need them to be. This makes things a lot more efficient when you actually know what you want and you just want to make quick edits here on the fly. We put that in to make sure that you weren't forced to be using the randomization features or the effects or the tapping. And if you just wanted to use your mouse because you know what you want already, then you have the ability to do that. You can double click notes to make them disappear. And you can actually insert more notes into the note pool by clicking on this vertical keyboard. And that actually allows notes to appear up here, where instead of having to manually edit each time. Something you might have noticed from today's video is all the features we talked about are features that allow you to keep your creativity in the mix, that allow you to make creative decisions at every step of the way instead of using randomization or using drop downs. Now there are drop downs with scales on them in Harvest. There's randomized rhythms in Harvest, but we didn't want to make that the focal point. We wanted the focal point to be on your creative decisions, your creativity, your own unique style, your own voice. And I think that's what sets Harvest apart from any of the other softwares I've seen out there for writing music. I think Harvest allows you to retain the most originality in your results. And the last thing I want to mention is not only is it more your style, but it's just more fun. It's more fun to use an instrument to choose your note selection. It's more fun to use an instrument to tap out a rhythm, to actually play an instrument. And it's fun to have this different type of workflow, locking notes as you go. And that's something unlike anything else. It's unlike writing music by hand. It's unlike writing music by improvisation. It's unlike any other arpeggiator, any other songwriting tool. That's something that is just more fun to do. So that's it for this video. I hope this video was helpful for you in making a decision and seeing what makes Harvest different and why it actually might help you the most out of any other software or tool out there. There's more videos coming because there's a lot more features to cover. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.